All right, everyone, welcome back to the channel. So as you saw in the last video, if you checked it out, the intake was broken. So we did get a new intake. It was honestly a little nicer than I was expecting to end up with. But those Dorman LS2 intakes like we took off of this have skyrocketed in price for whatever reason. They're like $1,000 now. So I was not gonna pay that for another plastic intake and have the same thing happen. So we'll keep that. We'll maybe like use some JB Weld or something, so in case we ever do an LS swap on something that's going to be naturally aspirated, maybe we'll be okay there. So we'll save all that stuff, but for now, let's unbox this new one and let's get it put on the car.
Oh, decent!
All right, we finally have an intake. I can't say finally, they shipped it out really fast. So we went with the BTR equalizer. It will still fit under the stock hood. The runner length is a little bit shorter, so we're gonna give up a little down low, but for what we're doing, I think it'll be perfectly fine. We are going to use the BTR fuel rails and the bracketry for those, and also got the BTR throttle bracket for this guy. The one thing is we need to use this map sensor hole to fit our map sensor. This one comes completely through hole. So we're gonna have to tap this and plug this, and we're gonna have to drill this guy out so we can use it. And then this is a fairly large vacuum fitting. We have manual brakes on the car, so we don't need that, but we will use that to do our boost reference port for the fuel pressure regulator. So we need to go pick up a reducer. So we're gonna run to the hardware store real quick, and then we'll be back. And we're gonna get everything pulled off the old intake and get it bolted onto this guy so we can see how this thing runs. You coming to say bye, Casey? You coming to say bye? All right, we're starting to get the BTR equalizer here fitted up to go on the car. So I had to get another nipple to take a smaller vac line here. So this is just for the blow-off valve. We plugged the one on this side. So this front side here, this is 1/4 inch NPT, just in case you need to know. And then on the back here, they do include fittings for this stuff, but I don't have, like I said before, we have manual brakes on the car. So this one's 3/8 NPT where the vacuum port usually goes, and we've just put our push to lock on there. Now our map sensor is really designed to go in this hole here, but I decided instead of having to drill and tap the hole up here, I was gonna have to open it up to this size, actually over this size anyway. So I just went ahead and drilled this out, and it just so happens that the map sensor sits in there awesome, and we have plenty of wire on our wiring harness in the car that this isn't going to be a problem for us. So if you get this intake and you run into this, yeah, you may be able to do this. We just trimmed the little locating gears off of it here and made sure that we had this nice and straight. The drill bit that we used to drill this was, what size drill bit did we use on that? 17/64, and that accepted this map sensor just beautifully. So, all right, we got this thing all dressed up. Got the injectors in it, the fuel rails, got all of our fittings on, the throttle body, got the lid torqued down. Now all we have to do is sling this puppy on the car and see what happens. All right, we got the new BTR intake on there. We did discover too that we had a little bit of a leak at a V-band there. I don't know if it just has drawn over time or whatever else we have changed, because I'm constantly trying to find better ways to do stuff. But we ended up having to cut that pipe and put a sleeve in to get the V-band to line up nice and good to where we don't have to worry about a leak. And then we found a small exhaust leak on this #1 chamber here. These manifolds are not very flat, so at some point in the future, hopefully we'll be able to get them surfaced, but got a new NLS gasket to go in that guy, so we'll get that put in there. And then unfortunately Tennessee weather didn't cooperate today, so we're not going to get to go test today, but it looks like tomorrow maybe we're going to go down to Rogersville and see if we can get this thing to behave like we want it to, and see if we can put up a decent time and get these shocks figured out finally. All right, we have made it to the track for testing. They've not sprayed any glue down yet. I don't know how much prep they're going to do, but this right lane looks, it's got some pretty decent rubber on it. Some pretty good little base there. Bolts up there. We may struggle on the radial a little bit, but yeah, I like this little track. It's narrow, but I think that makes it a little fun, makes it interesting. When we test at Bristol, you know, the lanes are like 40 feet wide, so it being a little tighter don't bother me. So we're gonna let them see if they're gonna prep, and we've got the car ready to go. So let's see what happens. Bird, come here, bird. Come here. Well, we are back and the hood is up. As you can tell, testing didn't go great. I was chatting with Kevin from Baseline Suspension, and he wants to see some more extension out of the front end. So we're going to get something figured out there. But the reason why our day was cut short is I doubt we'll be able to see anything. You may be able to see a little glisten of oil down there. The oil pressure sensor has blown apart. And thank God we put the belly pan on the car, because it has now got quite a bit of oil in it. So we're going to drop that, replace the pig mat, and put new pressure sensor in. We'll get away from the stock style ones with something that's meant to handle a little more pressure, maybe something that's built a little more robust. So that's going to cap off this video here, and we're going to get this stuff fixed and get back to the track.